We're live.
Hello, hello.
I'm excited to talk about this movie because this movie meant a lot to me growing up.
Did it?
It did. I very much, with this and Bob Fosse's All That Jazz, I watched them a lot. They inspired me to go into a life of show business.
Show business?
Yep. There's no business like show business, like no business I know. Everything about it is appealing.
Sing Fame now.
I want to live forever. Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your sommelier of cinema, your viceroy of verisimilitude, and your pharaoh of physical media, Robert Meyer Burnett, and I am here with my lovely compatriot. Who might you be?
I am Elizabeth Gwendolyn Bell, the ace, the arbiter of cinematic excellence, and the enchantress of entertainment.
I think the camera slipped a little. We're getting a little low here in the frame.
I think
One day.
we're shrinking.
You know, we're shrinking. Yes, the enchantress of entertainment, and we have a good show tonight.
We do.
In honor of the passing of the late, great Alan Parker, who was a favorite filmmaker of mine. Did we watch Birdie on this show?
We did.
Birdie is another. This is another time Alan Parker. This is a second movie that we've watched on this show.
Yes.
Fame, his 1980 film Fame that he made before Birdie, but Alan Parker made movies like...
Yeah, and Nicolas Cage didn't do any weird voices in Birdie.
No, he was great in Birdie.
He was great.
He was peak Cage. He was really, really good. Wow, we've watched 3 movies on the show with Nicolas Cage starring.
What is that all about?
Amazing.
Maybe I should pick Moonstruck for next Friday.
Snap out of it.
Snap out of it.
So hang on a second. Before we get started, we got to have some wine, some vino. We're having speaking of vino, it's Francis Ford Coppola time. A claret. Is it claret? Is that how you say it?
Sure.
Come on, why do you, I never know. I want to be cultured. A claret. It's Francis Coppola.
Yep.
And I didn't take, well, whatever. It's okay. I didn't take the whole thing off. Why don't you hand me your glass, madame?
There's a warning. Is that...
No, we're good.
Okay. My glass, yes.
So I can...
Pour it up.
Ooh, there you go.
Thank you.
So we are drinking to Alan Parker's... You know, this film it's not traditional. Let's drink to Fame.
Fame.
To Alan Parker's Fame.
Fame.
This film was a script... Ooh, first of all. That's good. This film was written in the mid-'70s and it was originally called Hot Lunch.
Hot Lunch, yeah.
Hence the Hot Lunch Jam song that I've loved. Shake it, Sadie, serving lady. I love this. So, he made this film, difficult conditions. He had union problems. They couldn't shoot at the High School of Performing Arts, but they cast a lot of people out of it, and they only actually cast one student in a major role, the girl who played Lisa, the bad dancer. She was actually a student at this high school.
You're kidding, and then she ends up being the bad dancer.
She ends up being the bad dancer. So she was in that. And of course, there's a lot of really interesting. One of the cast members of Peggy Sue Got Married, isn't it? Ralph Garci.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he was the inventor, the smart inventor in Peggy Sue Got Married.
Really?
Yeah. And then this film has a lot of interesting, like Richard Belzer, you know, who we've seen on Police Procedurals. He plays a comedian. He's the MC of the club.
Yeah.
Sal Piro, when they actually go see the Rocky Horror Picture Show in this movie, Sal Piro, who was the actual impresario at the 8th Street Playhouse, he really was the Rocky Horror impresario.
Oh, very cool.
He plays himself basically when they go see Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
And you know I think when I was a kid, I was fascinated by the New York of the late 70s. I mean, that gritty. I mean, it came out of the filth of the 70s, and we're at the later 70s and 80s, and it was turning. I mean, there was still Studio 54, but this High School for Performing Arts, and like I loved all that jazz. And to me, it New York on film in the 70s is a quintessential kind of. It's a city. It could be scuzzy, but it could be hopeful, and I love the depiction of New York in this movie.
Absolutely.
I love Michael Saracen shot this movie. He worked with Alan Parker a lot. I love the way this movie shot, just like all that peak verisimilitude. This movie has peak verisimilitude.
It does.
And it's not so much a narrative, because you're dealing with you're
Yeah.
dealing with 4 years, but it's more of an encapsulation. It's more of a
Slice of life kind of film
Yes.
where you're just kind of immersed in their life, their high school,
right.
what happened during their high school time.
And this movie was fairly divisive when it came out. Like,
Yeah.
some people said that the human stories were so almost barely there, or what was there was not much. But I've always found myself, I find this movie very moving, and I like the characters.
Yeah,
and,
I mean they drop some pretty heavy stuff in here that they don't follow up on. So I kind of had a slight issue with that, when the one girl is getting an abortion and the other girl is being, basically, abused by that creeper.
yeah, a total creeper,
And
making her look like a little girl, making Irene Cara, victimization. I mean,
that was intense. And then and then it's like it never happened.
right, but
Which I'm, is probably how a person would try to
yeah.
bury that.
But I mean, I think that what I find interesting is even though the movie is about the high school for performing arts, Alan Parker wants to encapsulate the entire experience of show business, of a life in show business through these students. I mean, the students are going to go off into a life in show business, but he really encapsulates it, and it what I really find.
Yeah, he's showing the beginnings of people who are wanting to do these kind of things, and they're young and they're full of energy and they're full of hope, yet they're full of angst and worry, and it's this kind of mix of when you're a teen and you want something so badly, yet you're a teenager and you're lost and you're confused.
The beginning of this movie's broken into 5 parts: the auditions, freshman year, sophomore year, junior year, and senior year.
Right.
And one of the things that I find myself marveling at I've probably seen this movie 50 times.
Wow.
I used to watch this movie all the time, but one of the things that always attracted me to this film is the editing. This and All That Jazz, probably of all the movies that I've ever seen, editing, because this is almost a series of montages.
Yeah.
That's interrupted by some character bits.
Yes.
And the editing of the opening, the audition sequence, and it's interesting because All That Jazz begins with an audition sequence as well.
Right.
When all of these dancers are being winnowed down to a small group, and it's kind of the same thing. They're both audition sequences, but this film, the way it introduces you to all the faculty of the school, which I love. I love the faculty of the school, and some of the people in it are real school faculty members.
They were great.
They were all great, and
you really felt like these students were in a class.
Yes. But the way this whole opening is edited, where people are like one, you go from ballet into acting, and you'd hear the sound would overlap. It is a tour de force of editorial. And what's interesting is in 1980, MTV was a year away from debuting. And I always talk about how the British invasion of directors, Alan Parker being, I think, the first, but was then followed by Ridley Scott and Tony Scott and Adrian Lyne, and the look, the single source lighting, which used to drive a lot of the American crews. What I mean by single source, you have one light coming in windows, and they'd burn a lot of incense and smoke to fill the room, so you
really?
get diffusion of the light.
That's awesome.
A lot of people didn't like that, but I love that. I mean,
I thought it looked great.
It's a beautiful film, but Americans didn't dig all the smoke on the sets and everything. But I feel that this movie is sort of it opens up what later became the 80s in terms of editorial and how do you depict performance in film. And so, I mean, it's hard to talk. This movie really doesn't have a plot. It's more of a tone poem about not just high school.
There are some main characters that you follow through.
Yeah. And who are some of those characters?
Okay, so I don't remember their names, but
well, there's Doris Finsucker.
Yes, Doris, who, when she's auditioning, she's wearing pigtails and just this goofy.
And she's actually Irish, but the way it was written, the writer thought that this would be a young Barbra Streisand, and really did not like how the part was cast, but I thought
great in
I
that
thought she was
part.
great.
She was perfect, and yeah, she's supposed to be a Jewish girl. She seems like a Jewish girl to me.
She did to me too, and her
Yeah.
mother.
Oh, her mother was
the
perfect.
quintessential stage mother, and you get it immediately when she sings. It is drama, so it's
Yes.
just
It felt really, really true, and she, you watch this girl grow over the 4 years that she's there, and she's like really shy, and she feels plain, and like she's not unusual like the rest of the students, and so she kind of grows. You see some growth there.
Yeah, and I like, especially over the course, her wardrobe
Yeah.
said a lot. Like she's wearing like a beret, a beanie, or a beret or something, but not a beret, but what's it called? Beret.
Yeah, a beret.
The
I
hat.
remember her wearing a beret.
No, like the hat. The hat, she was wearing a hat at one point. Whatever it's called. But I like her evolution. Then we got to meet Ralph Garcia,
Yes.
who is from South Bronx, hard part of the city.
Right.
And
his audition was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He kept making up stories about his dad. His dad taught him. He started off in the music department. Well, my dad taught me, and then he plays the harmonica, and they're like, you should go see the...
Why don't you try the drama department?
Well, that's where he ends up. And he's like, go to dance. So he goes to dance, and he's got, like, bottle caps stapled to his shoes, and he does this crazy tap dance, and they're like, maybe you should go see the drama department.
And then Irene Cara, who plays Coco, and she, of course, sings.
Yes.
I mean, she is a tremendous...
She's multi-talented.
Tremendous talent, and she sings 2 songs in this movie. One of them is, I mean, when I was watching it, I hadn't seen this movie in a while, and Out Here on My Own, I was, like, getting teary-eyed, because she's so good.
She's so good.
And, of course, she sings Fame, and she also went on to sing in '83 Flashdance, What a Feeling.
Yeah.
And she's one of the main characters.
I kept mixing up. I hadn't seen this film, and I have not seen Flashdance.
You hadn't seen this?
I had not seen
You've
this
never
film.
seen Flashdance?
No. I've
Would
only
it surprise you to know that I have Flashdance on Blu-ray?
But when we started watching this, I kept mixing up imagery because I'd seen parts of Flashdance, so I thought that
Have you seen Footloose?
I've seen Footloose.
You haven't seen Flashdance?
I have not.
We should go for the Michael Nouri double feature and watch The Hidden and then Flashdance.
Okay, I'm down.
How can you be a girl and not have watched Flashdance?
When did it come out?
83.
That's why.
But it was like a perennial video favorite. It ran on cable forever.
Yeah, that's why I saw parts of it, but I never saw...
But so you had never seen Fame at all?
I'd never seen Fame at all.
So, and you were into, like, when it started, you really I could tell you really liked it.
I loved it because, I love the arts. And Zoe went to a performing arts middle school. And so it really reminded me of that. She was in the dance program. And it just was delightful. I loved watching the auditions. I loved the dancing and the singing. I loved all the musical parts.
and there's another character, Bruno Martelli.
Yeah.
The Italian kid who has the great synthesizer setup, and he's got the it's great because you see 2 depictions of parents. You have Doris Finsucker's mom, and then you have Mr. Martelli, who's a cab driver.
Yes.
Who's bought his son, as he says, $7,000 worth of equipment, and Mr. Martelli is incredibly supportive and not overbearing.
So proud of his son.
So proud of his son. And it's interesting because there isn't the character moments in this film. They are the scenes are pretty short, so there is a shorthand in conveying what's going on, but they do a really good job of. Bruno Martelli is kind of this introverted guy, but believes in all of this technology, and has this father who's incredibly supportive, and I really like. He's a cab driver in New York. There's nothing more quintessential than an Italian cab driving father.
Yeah.
And
one of the greatest scenes is when he comes and he puts speakers on his car.
Well, yeah, we can't get to that yet.
Okay.
But so this auditions the
so it starts
auditions,
off with these auditions,
and it is and there's other character and then there's of course Leroy.
Yes.
Leroy, who shows
I love
up.
his story, how he gets in.
And Leroy, he comes. He's a good-looking young black kid and you think he's like a juvenile delinquent or something.
Because he's got a coat full of knives.
Yeah, and he comes with his friend to support her.
She's the one auditioning. And she keeps saying that to them. I'm auditioning. He's just to support me.
Yeah.
And they're like, but we at least need to know his name. Well, he's not important. I'm the one who's auditioning. And then finally they get his name out of him. And then when they're auditioning...
Well, it's really interesting because I got to put my glasses on.
I love that scene. That was hilarious.
What's great is the actor who plays him is Gene Anthony Ray.
Yeah.
And in real life, Gene Anthony Ray was he was a street dancer, and he would go to auditions. He would always win. So he was like well known. And when he actually was auditioning for the film, the casting people saw him and said, "Oh no, he doesn't need any training. Like we gotta hire him," and he's actually I think he's a great actor. And one of my favorite scenes is like he has to turn and Ben Stiller's mom is
really?
Anne Mara is Mrs. Sherwood, his teacher that he develops, the English teacher. That's Ben Stiller's mom.
That's why I was like, I know that person.
Yeah, and they. What I love about they have this relationship.
Okay, I'd never seen her that young. Okay.
Yeah, and he's pushing and pulling against her, and even though, and she wants him to read, and
she wants him to read. She's pushing him to read, and trying to force him to, which
Yeah, and you see, I mean, there's racial. I don't speak white, and there's racial tension there, and. There's like you do what they did in Dangerous Minds, the Michelle Pfeiffer movie about a white teacher coming into the inner city.
Right.
They play that whole story out with the two of them, but it's just in these short little bursts.
Yeah.
But it's iconic, so you get it.
Yeah.
And then when he starts dancing, I have to say, I think the girl's her name I think was Shirley in the movie.
Yeah.
And when I was in college...
She was hilarious.
She was hilarious, but when I was in college, my college roommate Todd Stanley and we used to quote her all the time.
Oh, really?
I don't want to spend 4 fucking years in this ass-licking school. Who wants to go to school and learn to dance anyhow? This school sucks. I mean, we would say that all the time. And her performance is heartbreaking.
It's so heartbreaking.
And when you see her...
She's trying so hard.
And she's crying. And
it's hard. When she says that and then leaves and she's crying, I'm like, ugh.
I always...
crushed.
Whenever I watch this movie, because I love this character, I love her so much.
Yeah.
And the way she's so excited.
Yeah, she's so excited.
I really wish that at the end of the movie she were to come back and they were to show her,
and
like something good would have happened for her, because I love her.
I know, right?
I love her.
She was pretty cool. They should have taken both of them.
And of course in the scene, Debbie Allen, who she's a great choreographer. She choreographs the Oscars. She's one of the teachers.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's in the audition.
Teacher?
She's not the white one. She's the black one who says, "What do you call that?" She's like, "Wicked."
Wicked.
I mean, that was Debbie Allen. Again, one of the secondary characters are all played by these very interesting actors.
Yeah.
But then Debbie Allen went and choreographed everything in the 80s and the 90s.
That's awesome.
So.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and the whole scene is, and then of course there's Montgomery McNeil,
yes,
played by Paul McCrane, who later was in RoboCop and was a doctor on ER, and no one liked him in ER, and he famously died when a helicopter fell on him.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so he plays Montgomery McNeil, a character struggling with his homosexuality, whose mother is a famous actress.
Right, he was in ER. He was a dick in ER.
Yeah, he was a dick, and he died. A helicopter fell on him.
I was like, why do I know this person? He looks so familiar.
And in his audition, he wrote a song that he actually sings in the film. The song he's playing in his guitar,
which was absolutely beautiful.
He wrote that song.
Wow.
So
he was okay.
Yeah. So, and then we follow these characters through their different years in school. And it's very funny because Montgomery, Paul McCrane, and Ralph Garcia and Doris Finsucker become friends, even though they...
Yes.
And you see their friendship, and over the course of time, Doris and Ralph have a relationship.
Yes.
And then Ralph becomes a stand-up comic where he goes to Richard Belser's club.
Yeah, and he becomes a dick, and...
Yeah, he hangs out. And he's obsessed with Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah.
Or pardon me, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s Freddie Prinze, who killed himself, famously killed himself, and I guess a hero to all Puerto Ricans. and you're from the South Bronx, and it's, well, I don't know. We're kind of jumping all over the place. It's hard to follow.
Yeah, there's really there's not a huge narrative. Towards the end, you're a little more involved in their personal stories.
Right.
But at the beginning, it's just like an overview or little snippets of what's going on in the school.
Yeah. And I would say there are things in this movie that they touch upon that I would love to have seen more of. Like Irene Cara and Bruno Martelli. I mean, Mr. Shirovsky, the classical music teacher, is
hilarious.
this classical. And of course, Bruno Martelli, you don't need orchestras. You know, if Beethoven
he likes
was
his synth music.
Yeah, if Beethoven was comporting, he would have symphonies at his fingertips.
Yeah.
And Shirovsky's like, that's not music, Mr. Martelli. That's masturbation.
Yeah, he's like, you do that alone? That's masturbation.
Yeah, I mean, and there is a lot of talking about the arts, questioning like what is the arts about, and this movie really, I mean, yes, it delves into some darker topics. But this movie, I find, is very life affirming, and it's very, like, I used to watch this movie when I was depressed about something, or I would put it on because it's so buoyant, and it's got some great, like, the Hot Lunch Jam musical number.
The Hot Lunch Jam is so cool. It's the first time that the whole school, like, joins in. I love it. It's very, like, one person starts a beat and then the next person, and then they all join in. And then before you know it, everyone's dancing on the tables and on all the surfaces.
The string section's playing, the brass section's playing, the singers are playing, and it just explodes. And of course, then Irene Cara starts singing.
Yes.
Like she's making up the lyrics on the spot.
And that's when her and Bruno kind of become partners.
Right. And it's great because you see, by the way, they shot that. That was all improvised.
Wow.
So they kind of built upon it as it went along.
See, you could tell. It felt very natural the way it kind of grew and developed.
And it's really cool because you see, like, people are playing a beat, and they're using whether it's drumsticks or kitchen utensils like forks and knives. And then it's Bruno, when he sees the piano, he comes up with the dun 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 dun, and then somebody else finds another piano and they start playing. And I mean, I want to live in that world.
Yes, so do I.
I mean, it made me want to live
the musical world where you just burst out in song and dance at any moment.
And it's great. And that song is it's a great song.
It is a great song.
It's
and for those who don't like musicals, this is the perfect musical for them because it doesn't really feel like a musical because you are in a performing arts school, so it feels natural when they break out into song and dance. It doesn't feel like an interruption in the story or anything like that. It's all part of it. So if you don't like musicals, this is the one for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much a musical as it is because the songs, while I don't know if anyone bursts out into this kind of song in their cafeteria, it seems like perhaps it could happen.
It could happen, for sure.
It doesn't, it's not like the music is not forwarding the plot. The music is a natural extension of being at performing arts.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's funny because Coco, she's like the world-weary one, but she thinks she knows everything about the entertainment business. She's reading the trades and
she reminds me of that character in Glee that was like, the one who was gonna make it, and her life was about being that performer.
Right.
And but
don't you want success?
Coco's not as arrogant as that character, but she can sing, she can dance, she can do it all. Like, she's a full package.
Well, one of the things I like, even Ralph Garci, the brash Puerto Rican, at first you don't like him, but then all of these characters, I have such affection for all of these characters.
Yeah, you definitely learn to love each one of them.
Yeah, you do, and that's, I think that's rare. I mean, this movie really goes out of its way to allow you to the affection for these characters grows. Like, at first you're like, Doris Finsucker, I'm not going to like her.
Right.
But then there's a lot of great things that they do in this movie. Like, there's in the first year, Doris meets Michael, who is this very handsome matinee idol guy with the big hair.
Yeah, he's a senior and she's a freshman.
And apparently, he's
the friendly guy who says hi to everyone. There's one in every school.
But he's also the most talented actor. So he got William Morris represented him. He's going to go out. He's got a scholarship to go anywhere he wants.
But he doesn't. He's invited to Hollywood to audition for a show.
And there's this great moment where Doris goes up and meets him, even though he doesn't really know her.
Right.
And
it's his last day.
Yeah, it's his last day, and it's at the end of freshman year.
Yeah.
And she says goodbye to him, and he's like sheepishly going, "Oh, well, thank you, great, terrific." And he goes off, and then later there's a great moment years later, like I don't know if it's junior or senior year.
Yeah,
where they go to they go to a restaurant, and then he's their server.
He's their server.
And it's the scene it gets me every time. It's so painful because the three of these characters that are still in school are still with all their hopes and their dreams. Right. They haven't been dashed, and here's a guy that was set up as being the guy
best in their school,
and then
and he's serving tables,
which is what most of the entertainment business. I once had hopes and dreams, but then they were soon dashed.
Well, there are so many talented people out there that are not discovered, which is kind of sad.
It is kind of sad. But again, I find that there's an exuberance and a joy in this movie, even when it gets... I mean, they do some interesting things, like in Ralph Garcia, he's always talking about the two chicks he lives with. And the two chicks he lives with are his sisters, her little sisters that he takes care of, and his mother, and his father's in jail, and there's as they delve into their acting, there's real pain and pathos in him, and like there's one distasteful. I find it distasteful that his little sister, like there's some junkie that attacks her, and you hope she wasn't molested, but they're in church, and it's
there are things that they leave dangling that you feel like should be dealt with, like that, and then like I said, those other two scenes, it's just like,
well, yeah, there's a scene when Irene Cara, when Coco is just at a diner eating, minding her own business, and she's accosted by this creeper, a good-looking guy who speaks French and says he's a director.
Well, he doesn't really speak French. He pretends to speak French.
Oh, that's not real French?
No.
Oh, I didn't know that. Mm-mm. I thought he really... Oh, so it's fake French.
It's fake.
Oh, that's even better. See, why didn't you tell me that? I didn't know that. You mean I've watched this movie for 40 years and I didn't know he's speaking fake... Voulez-vous, Coco? Whatever.
Yeah, no. And he's a total creeper. And even when you see them in the cafe and he's like, come audition for my, whatever he's doing, movie or whatever. And I'm thinking, oh, shit. So she's like all excited. Oh, yeah, I want to do that. And she goes to his apartment, which, ding, ding, ding.
And the apartment is just this dingy, horrible New York walk-up.
Yeah, and she walks in and she's like, where's everyone?
Yeah.
Thinking there's a crew there to, like,
And he's making, like, the sleaziest, like he makes her take off her top, and then because she's not exactly the most buxom of women, he's like, now suck your thumb, like, act like you're a little schoolgirl.
Oh my God, it's
I hate that scene
horrible.
because I love Irene Cara.
And she's crying.
It's all part of. That's what he wants. I mean, he's making some horrible. It would be shared on the dark web now. It's just
gross.
So bad, and
gross.
I hate that scene in this movie.
Yeah,
I hate it. I'm like, how dare you do this to my Coco?
Exactly.
How dare you?
But it happens all the time.
No, I know, and more so now than ever before. And yeah, it's, and then there's one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Is you never really see Bruno and Coco, other than when she's singing Out Here on My Own at the piano and he's listening to her. You never see them working together. But they've been recording. Yeah. There's no scene where she goes to his house, to his basement.
But they are doing that.
They are doing that, and there's a great scene where Bruno's father, Mr. Martelli, has stolen a tape.
Yes.
And it's Fame. It's the titular song, and it's her singing, I Want to Live Forever. And he rolls up in front of the school, and
before that happens, he's lecturing his son, like, people need to hear your music. Mm. And they have this whole back and forth where Bruno's like, oh, no, I don't want people to, I don't know what he says, but basically he doesn't want to be, in the limelight. He just wants to create his music.
Yeah, and he's like, my music isn't ready.
Yeah, and his dad's like, what? You're never going to be discovered unless people hear your music. And so at that point, later on, that's when he decides that people are going to hear his music.
People and he comes and he I love it because he's mounted like loudspeakers on the roof of his cab.
Yes.
And
he rolls up in front of the school.
He rolls up in front of the school and starts playing Fame.
Yeah.
And
all the students pour out of the school and start dancing in the middle of the street.
And they're dancing on cars.
Such a great scene.
And you know what's really interesting is it encompasses, I think, what New York means to people that go there to either be in the theater or be a dancer or discover what it is. The promise of this explosion of creative energy can happen at any moment is something that that's what I didn't ever the first time I ever went to New York was in 1990. And I'm like, where do I get to go to watch people sing Fame in the streets? You know, I thought that was going to happen. And every time I've gone to New York, there is that energy. I mean, I still believe that one day there is gonna be. And when they were filming that, they had a problem. When they were stopping these, you know, they were having these. It wasn't like you can't permit streets in New York so they would shoot these scenes and the cops would come and they had lots of problems. And
so part of that was real.
Yeah, there was a lot of reality. In
when
that.
He beats up the truck driver, is that like?
Well, it was so great. It was so move your parade.
Yeah,
move your parade like it's his parade, and he's going. You know, he's just being the Italian that he is. I mean, this movie is such a New York movie. Like I see it as much as Scorsese was doing Taxi Driver and Bob Fosse was doing all that jazz. You had Alan Parker, a Brit, coming to America and making Fame.
Well, he had spent time in the school of performing arts and had spent a couple months just being there and being with the students, and that's how he got his inspiration to make the movie.
No, and it's you really get a sense of that. I mean, again, I love this film. I love everything about this movie. I've seen this movie so many times, and watching it again, first of all, it's a beautiful film. It's beautifully photographed. The cinematography is amazing, and I really feel like and there's, by the way, there's the tension between this character Lisa, this girl that she's not really committed to dancing. She has conflict. The two conflicts in this movie are Leroy's conflict with what's her name,
the English teacher,
the English Miss Sherwood. And then you have Lisa's conflict with the dance teacher. Miss Berg. Joanna Merlin plays Miss Berg. And what I love is the dance teacher's like, you're not working hard enough. More sweat, Lisa.
Yeah, every time.
And then when they finally have their confrontation, she does not have... She's basically like, look, you don't have what it takes. You don't have it, Lisa. And she's really stern with her. And then Lisa's upset. She's leaving. She goes out of the room, and then the door is shut, and then when the teacher's alone, she's just like, shit. And you realize it really weighs heavily on her.
Absolutely.
She has to be stern.
Because Lisa really wants to dance.
Right.
But she even says, like, I don't need to be the lead. I just want to dance.
Right. And then there's a great scene where she's going with her classmates and, like, with Coco and everything, and they're waiting for the subway, and Coco starts dancing in this puddle, singing in the rain. And they really make you think that Lisa's gonna kill herself, like jump in front of
She goes to the edge.
And and then the train goes by, and they're all looking at her, thinking, and she's like, "Fuck it, I'll just try the drama department." and I love that. I love that scene.
But then you never see Lisa again.
No, you do. You see her. She sings at the end. When she's the first person that sings "I Sing the Body Electric," so she comes back, but yeah, her story is kind of over.
Yeah.
When she says, "Oh, fuck it, I'll try it in the drama department." So, but did you feel like? Well, what did you think of this movie?
I really liked this movie. I really enjoyed it.
Did it? I mean, like you said, it reminded you of Zoe going to school, but
yeah.
But were you?
Zoe was Lisa.
Zoe was
Don't
Lisa.
ever tell her that.
Well, it's on the internet forever now. But I mean, I can see that because there's lots of people that want things but don't want to do the work.
Well, she did the work. She just wasn't she wasn't as good as some of the other. Well, you saw her performance.
Yeah.
But she loves dance. She's just not a lead dance.
Right. Yes, that is true. But I think that what's interesting about, this movie inspired the TV show, which I also love, and some of the characters like Bruno Martelli, and I want to say
I never saw the show.
I want to say Gene Anthony Ray comes back as Leroy.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. They recast Coco. I mean, Irene Cara was getting
Bummer.
big. Yeah, I liked the girl who played Coco in the show, but it wasn't Irene Cara.
Okay.
But I did.
What was the show like?
The show was good.
Yeah.
I thought the show was really good. I mean, obviously it delved into the characters more, but I really did like the show a lot. I mean, I haven't seen it. I would watch it when it was on, but I never. And then they remade the movie, which in like
that's true.
2010 or 9 or something.
Was it good?
Yeah, I didn't see it.
I didn't either.
I was so, again, it was one of these remakes. I'm like, when I saw the trailer for the movie, I couldn't get past it. It just, this movie has peak verisimilitude. You believe the milieu, and it's with the single source lighting. Nothing is ever overlit because everything looks like it's real.
It looks natural.
It looks natural, and the remake. It's funny because last night when we watched it, I came back in here and I watched the trailer for the remake.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't hang with it at all. I mean, and there's a girl, I don't know if it's Jennifer Hudson, I don't know who's, someone's singing Out Here on My Own, and it's fine, but again, it's too glossy. The way they do it in this film, it's just the room, Bruno's leaning on, and Irene Cara is singing the song, and it's the movie slows down, and when Paul McCrane sings his song on the guitar, they almost play the entire song.
Yeah, yeah.
And they're both very moving
yes,
numbers.
They are. Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. I mean, it's not. When I was reading about this movie last night, I didn't realize so many people. It was so divided. The opinions were so divided. Like Gene Siskel said that the storylines of these characters are the most. They're not. There's nothing there, and I've always really identified with all these characters. Maybe I'm.
Well, I think that he captured what it's like being in high school and watching fellow students. They're your friends, and you kind of know them, and their story. Things happen to them, and you know about what happens to them, but you don't follow up with what's going on with the rest. So that's how this whole film feels like. It feels like you're watching it as a student, watching your fellow students, lives go by.
Right. That's interesting. I mean, I that's an interesting analysis. I mean, I think, to me, this movie is, Alan Parker, after he made this, he went on and made the film version of Pink Floyd The Wall, which, to me, I love the film version of Pink Floyd The Wall, but the whole thing is it's a music video, but it's so beautifully photographed, and it's amazing, and it combines animation, but this is almost like an extended music video. I've always thought of this movie as a tone poem, because yes, it's about school of performing arts, but it does touch on the angst we all feel in high school, and
you definitely feel the angst.
Yeah,
you feel that teenage, the ups and downs.
And also another thing that I love about this movie that I could tell even from the trailer of Fame, and this is something that really bothers me. Nowadays in movies, people are way too good looking. And everybody looks like a fucking supermodel, and no matter what it is. And in this film, you believe everybody. It's not that they're not attractive; they're attractive people, but they look real.
They look real,
and I think something that's really been lost in the last 25 years in movies, especially movies about youth, is that nobody looks real.
Nobody.
Everybody is a fucking supermodel.
Yeah, and even the ones that are supposed to be the nerds or even they have a certain look that's not realistic.
No, it's we have to make them look like a nerd. Everything is designed.
It's designed.
I don't believe any of it. And in this film, the people they picked, even like there's the two Russian dudes.
Yes.
Like when she comes in looking for where's so and so across the hall. The two Russian dudes that are like yelling in Russian as they're playing their virtuoso violinists. And then he's across the room. They break into English, and then this movie has it's such an affectionate look at these people. And the movie really loves these people, and it loves these performers, and it's not. I always feel like when I watch movies about teenagers today, that there's a crassness to it all. Even when you're supposed to, even when you watch like Booksmart that we both liked, these girls are too cool for school, and I don't. They're movie people. They're not real people. And this movie, I believe, like they could have plucked these people right off the street. I don't feel like I'm watching actors in roles. I feel like I'm actually watching the people
in a high school, in a performing high school. For sure.
And that's something that's always bothered me. And you can see that even John Hughes, when he was making Molly Ringwald, she wasn't a pin-up beauty, and that's why Pretty in Pink works.
Yeah.
That's why her and Ducky, that's why people, John Cryer is almost borderline too cool, but he's still goofy enough where you believe it.
Yeah.
And I think this movie, they were people looked real. Now
they did.
And especially in our Instagram social media world, even today's teenagers don't look like real teenagers anymore.
They really don't. It's all about the way they look and living a fake life. Yeah.
Well, should we see what people have to say?
We shall.
You know what? As I'm looking at this, I don't know. I'm looking at and I'm seeing that somehow.
What?
We have this our Stream Elements dashboard is missing.
Oh.
And let me try and fix that, and I don't know why that is. Why is the Stream Elements dashboard missing? It's still missing.
Wow.
Well, all right. I guess
you could just read them.
I'll just read them. I don't know why that is. That's strange. Let's see. Eric Gant sent this in 4 hours ago. Maybe it was from my last show, but I missed it. He says, "Greetings with the imminent arrival of Lower Decks." Yes, that's right. A new Star Trek show debuts tomorrow. The animated Lower Decks. I've been preemptively balancing the scales with Deep Space Nine. In the episode Valiant, Nog outranks all of the cadets on the ship. Rather than serving as chief engineer, shouldn't he have assumed command? Well, theoretically, he probably should have. But Nog, he probably wasn't feeling comfortable doing that, so he didn't. Alexander Wilson sends in a tip and says, Jim Cramer and CNBC has always talked about how we live in the stay-at-home economy before COVID, and this monster has accelerated it even more. I feel like this Mulan decision by Disney is what the future of cinema will look like. Well, Alexander, I talked about that. For those of you who don't know, Disney has decided to release Mulan, a $200 million tentpole, well, a big movie, release it on Disney Plus for a premium. This was going to happen. This was an inevitability. It was just who was going to jump in sooner, but you're absolutely right. COVID has accelerated all of this. Without COVID, I would have not expected something like this for 5 years or more. I mean, Disney made $13 billion theatrically last year. I mean, and that's where we're at. These movies are being, they have to pay back their loans. It's a bummer. But if it works, like I don't think that Mulan, because it's not a 4-quadrant movie, but if they get any traction, I mean, Black Widow, I would have said, you're going to make $500 million because everybody wants to see MCU movies. Mulan, like, I don't know. I don't think I would drop $30 to see Mulan. I want to watch it, but I don't, it's not something I don't care. Black Widow, yeah. The Eternals, yeah. No Time to Die, yeah. Tenet. I mean, as much as I don't want to see these movies for the first time at home, I don't know when I'm going to get to see Tenet. And the fact that Tenet's going to open other places in the world and I'm not going to get to see it really pisses me off. So, we shall see what will happen. John sends in a super chat and says, Rob, you are a streaming maniac. I know this is my 5th show today. One was pre-recorded. It's incredible. Hi, Elizabeth. Cheers to you both.
Hello.
I had not seen Fame until last year. Great film indeed. Enjoyed watching it again. Well, cheers to you, sir, and cheers to Fame.
Fame.
Here's to that. Malbrained sent in a super chat and says, should have watched The Commitments as a tribute to Parker. Instead, a much more raw and real film by the man. I don't know about that. Look, I love The Commitments. I do. And The Commitments is definitely a more traditional narrative. But I think what this film accomplishes from a cinematic standpoint, as far as cinema is concerned, I think The Commitments is a better story. Absolutely. But for me personally, this movie is incredibly influential in my own life in terms of informing my desire to become an editor and how this movie was filmed. I mean, again, it's a different kind of a movie. The Commitments was made by 90s Alan Parker. This was made by 80s Alan Parker. So, but yes, I mean, I do love The Commitments. I'm a huge Alan Parker fan. But yeah, I think, look, I think The Commitments, again, as a tribute to Alan Parker, the fact that he was able to make this movie and have it do what it does is it definitely, it speaks to him as a filmmaker. So
I haven't seen The Commitments.
What?
I don't know what it's about.
It's about an Irish bar band.
Oh.
It's great. It's great.
Oh, wait.
You've probably seen The Commitments.
Maybe. Who's in it?
Irish people.
Maybe I haven't.
Colomini. I don't know.
Maybe
Hey,
I have.
Kaz Graphics are cheesemongers here.
Cheesemonger.
Thanks for turning me on to this movie. I was only aware of this. I was only aware of the TV show. As a kid, I watched the TV show with my mom. Great thing to watch with your mom. It's funny because a lot of people don't know this movie has kind of been forgotten in a way.
Really?
Because the TV show overshadowed it. The TV show ran for a while.
See, I knew about the movie. I barely knew about the show.
Well, I'm glad you got to watch it, Kaz, because I love this film so much. I think it's so good. Malbrain goes on to say, Parker made Bugsy Malone, Fame, musical films, but later The Commitments, a filthy Irish soul film and one of his best. Watch, drink. Well, Malbrain, I will do that. We could do that. But we have to come back around to it because we've now done 2 Alan Parker movies. Mukbang is here. All the critics love you in New York. That's a terrible version of that. All the critics love you in New York. Off, of course, 1999. One of my favorite Prince records, and I love that song. All the critics love you in New York. I can't say it. New York. Copyright Prince. I love this film and the TV show. I agree. The film and the TV show they're both great. The show was really good too. Surprisingly good.
When was the show on?
God, it was mid-'80s. But it ran for a while. I mean, it ran for a while. Sean M is here. He says, I love Fame. Thanks, Elizabeth and Rob. Well, thank you, Sean M.
You're welcome.
Thanks for supporting the channel. I appreciate that. Always a good thing.
Always a good thing.
And let's see, Sean goes on to say, The Commitments is a great film, but Fame is Alan Parker's greatest. All right, now I don't want to disagree with you, sir, but I would also say that he made Mississippi Burning. You know, I love Fame, but I love Mississippi Burning. I love Birdie. I love Pink Floyd The Wall. I love Shoot the Moon. I mean, and then, of course, he went on to make things like The Road to Wellville, and he made Evita. But I think 80s Alan Parker is my favorite Alan Parker. I mean, he's a great director. He really is. But I don't know if... And The Commitments is great. I think he's just a great filmmaker. Angela's Ashes. I mean, he was very diverse. Yeah, he was a very diverse filmmaker. But I think what Alan Parker had... Angel Heart... Come on. Did we do Angel Heart?
We did. Or we just watched it together.
I think we just watched it.
We should do that.
Angel. Well, no, because we gotta do other directors.
Okay.
We haven't done Spike Lee yet, and we gotta do the right thing. But we're waiting for our special guest. You know, our special guest to do that.
To come out of being shy.
Right. Come out of being shy. That's right. Timula the Spider Monkey is here, and he says, thanks for picking this film and by proxy making me watch it again. I probably haven't seen it since the mid to late 80s. I liked it. Wouldn't say loved it. Still very enjoyable. Really? So, why? You know, it's funny. I mean, I can understand that. This movie just is one of those movies that just speaks to me. Did you like it or love it?
I loved it.
You loved it.
Yes.
Well, you can say.
I loved it.
Okay, you loved it. Like in Woody Allen, loved it. I loved this movie. Loved it.
I loved it.
We haven't watched a Woody Allen movie. We gotta watch.
Mighty Aphrodite.
No. Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
You know, it's fine.
No, that's not my favorite.
There's so many to watch. I mean, we should watch Crimes and Misdemeanors.
Midnight in Paris. Midnight
in Paris, yeah. I love Midnight in Paris.
That's my favorite.
Well, yeah, but you... Okay, but that's later Woody Allen. We got to go back early. Stardust Memories. I think the end of his classic period is Crimes and Misdemeanors. But I'm a Woody Allen fan.
Well, yeah, there's a lot that I like. The one with Helen Hunt.
Oh, I can't. I don't know. Not Hannah and her sisters. No, she's too young.
Damn it! Why can't I remember the name?
I don't know. Timbula the Spider Monkey goes on to say, my favorite Parker film is probably Mississippi Burning, but the late 90s stoner me would probably pick The Wall. Pink Floyd The Wall is so... And by the way, can I just make a plea? I don't know who's out there, but somebody please, or watch out, you're on the... Oh, you're on my pad.
And what is that doing?
It's affecting this.
Oh.
The Wall, I love The Wall. Why has The Wall not been released in HD? Where's the Blu-ray? Where's the 4K? I don't understand. I mean, I'm sure it's a music rights issue, but there are very few DVDs that I still have in my collection that I want to replace. That is one of them. I love The Wall. I want an Atmos mix of it. Why don't they put that out? Have you seen The Wall?
Yeah. My brother worked in a movie theater, and
he's a stoner.
Yeah, and they would play it late at night, and he let me come one night and watch it with them.
Ooh, is that like really transgressive for you?
Yeah.
I'm going to the movie theater late at night to watch The Wall. Did you get stoned?
Yeah. No.
You didn't?
No.
You didn't get some dank nugs and smoke a bowl?
No. Nope.
I got high when I went and saw the Wall the first time. We smoked a bunch of... We made... I didn't have a pipe. We made pipes out of Coke cans. You know, you make a carb and you put your thumb down.
You didn't use an apple?
No, didn't use an apple, but we would always, yeah. They're actually surprisingly effective.
I believe you.
I was very stoned and you know what? I think if memory serves, I want to say my sophomore year, because I started. It was like homecoming. It was the night of the homecoming dance, and instead of going to the dance, we went and got really stoned and watched The Wall.
Instead of going to homecoming?
Yeah. We did. I'm pretty sure. I know, what can you say? The only movies that I got stoned in when I was in high school was The Wall and Dune.
Dune?
Because that was what made me realize I didn't like getting stoned. I didn't like being altered. I didn't like seeing movies drunk, and I didn't like seeing movies stoned.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
I didn't like that at all.
Surprised that you even got stoned in 2 movies.
Yeah, I didn't like it. Well, because when you're in high school, you kind of you're trying to be cool, you know. Let's get stoned, dude. Yeah, sure. I was not a big pothead. You know, I maybe because I could always get it, so I was not interested. But I didn't like being altered when I saw movies because I couldn't concentrate. I was fighting against myself. I'm like, what did they say? I didn't like that. I didn't like it at all. Not a fan. Let's see. Timulus says, my favorite Alan Parker film is... Oh, I already said that. Mississippi Burning. Sean M. says, The Commitments is the greatest Irish film. I don't take it lightly, but Fame is better. Wow. Ooh. That's them's fighting words. Comparing and contrasting Fame and The Commitments, though, I think it's hard because they're very different movies, even though they both deal, yes, with music. But I don't... Fame is trying to do something very different from The Commitments. I think they're both great films, and I think they should coexist. I mean, the great thing is we don't have to say which is better or which is. They both can exist in a continuum of Alan Parker's work, and I think we're lucky to have them both. Timbulus says Woody Allen pick Love and Death. Love and Death, not. That's early Woody Allen. I like Love and Death. That's a good one, but I don't know. I don't know if our first Woody Allen movie should be Love and Death.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen that one.
I think you would like something like Stardust Memories or Hannah and Her Sisters, but I just love Crimes and Misdemeanors because as a full-on movie, it's pretty great.
Who was in that one?
Martin Landau is in that movie. Angelica Houston's in that movie. Woody Allen's in that movie. Mia Farrow's in that movie. Alan Alda's in that movie.
I don't think I've seen that one.
It's fantastic. It might be my favorite Woody Allen movie. But it's not typical Woody Allen. So Love and Death is good. John says Love and Death or Everything You Wanted to Know About Sex but are afraid to ask would be my Woody votes. Again, those are early Woody Allen movies. Both of those movies are good, but they're more traditional. It's not New York Woody Allen. It's not addressing the modern age kind of a thing. They're very much they're good. They're just different. It depends what you want. Because Woody Allen went through his New York relationship period, and then what he's been doing later, when he went to Barcelona or when he went to
I saw that one. What about the one with Cate Blanchett?
Blue Jasmine.
Yes,
that's a great movie.
I really like that one.
That's a San Francisco movie.
That's a good one.
It is. Kaz Graphics says, just throwing this movie out there, Boiler Room with Ben Affleck, a young Vin Diesel, Giovanni Ribisi, directed by Ben Younger. I like Boiler Room. It's a more of that Wall Street kind of thing.
Oh.
I like that movie. Interesting performances, and
I haven't seen that.
Malbrain says, well, that's not a bad movie. Malbrain says, Rob, you're blinded by nostalgia if you think Fame is better than Commitments. You know what? Even Alan Parker himself would argue, I don't think Fame is better than The Commitments. I think they're just very different movies, and I don't think it does either one. The Commitments is a great film.
Is The Commitments with Mustang Sally
Yeah.
song in it?
Yeah.
I did see that,
Yeah.
and I did love that.
It's great. The Commitments is great, but it's not Fame.
really
It's a very different movie than Fame. It's much more of a traditional story.
For some reason, I thought it was named Mustang Sally.
No.
But you know me and remembering names of stuff.
I do. Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's a really good film.
It's a great film. Commitments is great. But that's why I just want to be clear. I'm not saying that The Commitments. I find it, the thing about Fame and The Commitments. Everyone, we always want to quantify what's better than this. Is this better than this? And I try and judge a movie on what is the movie trying to do. What is it?
Sometimes you compare them.
Yeah, but I don't like to, because you can't. It's like, do you like A Clockwork Orange or The Godfather better? And I love the two of these. They're two of my favorite movies.
Here's a question that you often ask young people. If you were stranded on an island,
a desert island,
what
with a home theater system?
Yeah, what 10 movies would you take with you?
That's why I ask young people, so I don't have to answer that. I mean, I can tell you, well, you know what? That's something we should put on the website. We should both answer this question.
Yes.
What are our 10 desert?
Yes.
Tower Records used to publish a magazine. And they would have, one of the features in the letter columns were people would write in their desert island discs. Well, we should do that. We should encourage maybe, that's something, you know what? If you want to send a letter to the Burnettwork, if you go to the Burnettwork.net website and you want to send us a letter, send us your desert island discs.
Yes.
Send us, and we'll.
I think we should narrow it down to 5.
No, but that's too short. That's not enough. You gotta have 10. 5's not enough. So send us your desert island discs. So the premise is, you were in a shipwreck and somehow you washed up on the beach with a home theater system that was solar powered, and miraculously, your 10 favorite movies on 4K.
Yes.
What would they be? And don't think that I'm going to be like, oh, that's not on 4K yet. I won't say that. Let's just assume in this scenario, all movies are on 4K. So there you go. So Malbrained, I'm not blinded by nostalgia. I think The Commitments is great. And by the way, The Commitments was a phenom. The Commitments was everywhere. It was a huge deal.
Was it?
Yeah. Loved it. People loved it. Sean M. says, as a film everyone can watch, Fame is better. The Commitments is a wonderful film about 5 million people in Ireland can love. No, Sean, no, I disagree. Because, again, The Commitments dealing with the struggles of in a way, they touch on the same ideas, success and art and...
Yeah.
And I think 5 million people in Ireland can love. I think people outside of Ireland. I've never been to Ireland, but I would love to go there.
I'm a little obsessed with Ireland.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I want to go there and walk and go to every distillery. I just want to. Maybe if we ever had any real money and I wouldn't have to work, or you don't have to work, we could walk around Ireland and do a live stream for 2 months and just walk around the entire country and go to distilleries and meet people.
That would be so cool.
I would love to do that.
They have a tradition of storytelling in Ireland for centuries. There are professional storytellers that go to pubs and tell stories.
Well,
there's a name for that person too, and I forgot it.
A bard?
Is that it?
I don't know.
No, there's an actual name for that profession.
Well, then we could do that too. And
a storyteller.
We should do a Burnettwork road trip to Ireland for 2 months.
Absolutely. I want to meet every storyteller in Ireland.
If this new project goes.
Because everyone has a story to tell.
Everyone has a story to tell. All you have to do is listen. I'd love that.
Especially professional Irish storytellers.
Professional Irish, yeah. Well, okay, so we're at the end of our hour.
We are.
We're at the end of our hour, and we have our bottoms up scale.
We do.
And our bottoms up, what is our bottoms up scale?
Our bottoms up scale is from 1 to 4 because there are 4 glasses of wine in a bottle.
And okay, so on a scale of 1 to 4 glasses of wine, what would you give? How many glasses of wine would you give Alan Parker's The Commitments?
The Commitments?
Just kidding. Alan Parker's Fame.
I will give Fame 3.5 glasses.
I am right there with you. 3.5 glasses for Fame. I can't. Again, for what Fame was trying to do, I think it succeeds, utterly succeeds. I love it so much. So.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really, actually, yes, I too. People keep writing in here. So, Michael Preston sends in a super chat and says, "Pain and sweat. Me and my mom watched this together." Was it painful and sweaty watching it with your mom? Or what did your mom think? I love that.
What is that?
What?
Pain and sweat.
Well, that's in the dance class. Where's the sweat,
right,
Lisa?
right.
Dancing is pain. Where's the sweat,
Yeah,
Lisa? Yeah. It's great. Did your mom like it, Michael? I would think that mothers would like this movie.
Yeah, except for the
well, you're
creeper. The creeper.
Yeah,
that's hard to watch as a mom. And that's probably why I wasn't allowed to watch this film.
Right. Yeah. The Richard sends in a super chat. One of our moderators says, FYI, we have a lot of requests for October and Halloween.
Oh.
Wait a minute. It's August. Would you consider an entire spooky month?
Absolutely.
Hell yeah, we would.
Are you kidding me? We love horror.
Rocky Horror, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Repo, The Genetic Opera. Well, I do own all 3 of those movies on Blu-ray. So,
I've only seen one of those.
I mean, first of all, I have a friend that worked on Repo, The Genetic Opera, Spooky Dan.
Oh.
I'd have to have him come as a guest.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we should do, so October, here's the thing. The thing about Rocky Horror, watching Rocky Horror as a movie, like it's not.
Yeah.
I don't think we could do Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
We could definitely do Texas Chainsaw, and
Haven't seen
Repo
that.
the Genetic Opera is
I haven't seen that either.
it's a like a horror musical. I don't know about those two, but yeah, I mean, we should do an
I
all.
want to do the autopsy of Jane Doe.
The autopsy, oh, so good. The autopsy. We should do.
The Witch.
Yeah, I mean, you know what we'll do? Here's the thing, the Richard. I would say this. Yes. If we are we going to do this in October? We're going to keep doing this? I guess we are.
Why? Do we have an end date?
No, we don't have an end. I just was, no, we don't have an end date. We might as well just keep doing this. So we will do horror movies for the entire month of October.
Yeah, you better believe we will.
I will say this. There is one movie that we're going to do in October. Faux show.
The Hills Run Red.
No. Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
The new transfer of Dawn of the Dead. We're doing Romero's Dawn of the Dead. That's the only thing I would say people should, like, viewer's choice, suggest horror films. I mean, I would like to do...
A viewer's choice for October?
I think that we should do, if we're going to do an all-horror month, we should do a very highbrow, we should look at some of the make it, look at things like Texas Chainsaw, look at Rosemary's Baby, look at The Exorcist, like, look at all these maybe movies, and less like Mario Bava's Black Sunday, for instance, which is, we should really come out, or a Dario Argento movie. We should watch things that are legit great. You've never seen The Fly.
I have not seen The Fly.
We have to watch Cronenberg's The Fly.
I'm down.
I think we should do that. I think that would be good. Doc Savage sends in a super chat. Am I an a-hole for being the only person in the world for missing Cop Rock? No, because Cop Rock ruled. For those of you who don't know, that was a Stephen Bochco series. It was a cop procedural that was also a musical.
You're kidding.
Nope. I'm not.
Was that a movie?
No, it was a TV series. And it was awesome.
And I missed it?
It was awesome.
A musical cop show?
Mm-hmm.
Dude.
Dudette.
When did that air?
It aired when I lived in California, so I want to say early 90s?
How did I miss that?
Well, it didn't last very long. Unfortunately. What we got didn't last very long. Unfortunately.
I would watch that.
Oh, now Malbrain says you're both welcome to Ireland. I'll show you the worst pubs, which are the best pubs.
Yes.
Drink. Well, now that we know Malbrain, now it makes sense.
We're coming. If you extend an invitation, we are there.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to go. The worst pubs are always the best pubs. And I would imagine that means there's a lot of singing, which I would love.
Let's go.
I'd love to go to... Can we sing like a lot of U2 songs? I don't know if that's politically correct.
We can sing whatever we want.
Can I sing Bullet the Blue Sky?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to sing Fame.
Can we talk about My Left Foot, how great My Left Foot is?
Yes.
Or In the Name of the Father?
I don't know that one.
Well, it's great. You should watch that. That's a great movie.
Let's do it.
All right,
I'll watch anything Irish.
I will watch. The Richard's wishing people a happy Halloween in the... It's like August 5th.
It's August.
Come on, dude.
It's like singing Christmas songs out of the season.
But anyway, here's to Malbrain, and here's to Ireland. You're a corker, Shannon. Corker. I don't think we can really watch... what is that movie? I want to say Way Out West. It's not. What is the Ron Howard movie where they... Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman. The Irish movie.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
That's where I got that from. You're a corker.
Oh, that's right.
You're a corker, Shannon.
Yes.
Corker.
Where they met and got together.
Yeah. Well, they met on Days of Thunder, but then they made...
Yeah. What is it? I liked that film.
Timulus says, how about some old Universal Monster movies for Spooky Month? Absolutely. Bride of Frankenstein. We will absolutely watch Bride of Frankenstein. Bride of Frankenstein is absolutely stone cold classic, one of the great horror films ever made. And we will watch a lesbian vampire movie.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'd watch that.
Yeah, Daughters of Darkness, probably.
Cool.
That comes out in 4K. I gotta get that. Yeah. That's a good idea. So I think it's time to end our show.
Okay.
What do you think?
Sure.
3.5 stars for fame.
3.5 stars.
3.5 glasses of wine.
Glasses of wine.
On our
And Friday, we are doing
Rocky, the first Rocky. We're going back to the beginning.
We are doing Rocky. And what are we doing Monday?
I don't know yet.
Oh, I thought you picked something.
Did I? No, I don't.
Something that Dieter sent us.
Oh yeah, you know what we're gonna do Monday? I wonder if it's we're Dieter Bastian, who sent me. I don't know where I put it. It's probably over here somewhere. I don't know which one. We are going to watch a movie called "A Good Woman Is Hard to Find." Dieter sent it to me. The trailer. Watch the trailer, and I guarantee you want to see it. I don't know where you can get it. Dieter sent me the Blu-ray, so we're going to watch that.
Maybe we could stream it on Zoom.
Yeah, I don't know. But A Good Woman Is Hard to Find. It's a new movie. A pretty new movie. And once you watch the trailer, you're going to be like, it's a thriller. You're going to be like, oh, I have to see that. So that's what we're going to watch.
So that's Monday's movie.
That's Monday, is A Good Woman Is Hard to Find. And that is from Dieter Bastian. He sent me a media book of it. And I'm very excited to see it. So, there you go.
There you go.
So? Well, take us out.
Everyone you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. And all you have to do is listen.
All you have to do is listen. And by the way, I want to thank all of you. Thank you for supporting the channel through tips, super chats, whatever. I want to thank everybody for sending us letters to the Burnettwork.net website. Please do that. If you want to send letters or your top 10 Desert Island Discs lists or even videos, we will play them. I want to thanks to my moderating staff. Mr. Derringer is here. The Richard is here. I don't know who else is here. Just two of you guys. I want to thank Mike Bodden. I want to thank Greg Smith. And I want to thank Joshua Levesque and all of my Haynock when he's here and all of the great moderators. And I want to especially thank the Richard for being a great guy and running watch parties on the Post-Geek Singularity Facebook page and on the WINEning About Movies Facebook page. Go find the Richard. He has Zoom watch parties. He's always playing some craziness. So go find him there and tell him I sent you. So Thank you all very much. And so ends WINEning About Movies episode number 62.
And go watch Rocky for Friday.
Go watch Rocky. Dun, 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 dun. You're going to fly now. We're going to fly now. Gonna fly now. We're going to watch Rocky on Friday.
Yep.
Wow. Not Felix Leiter sends in a tip and says, hey, Rob, over under 40% Tenet is better than Inception. No, I can't stop thinking about it. Okay. Let me answer this. If you just go by trailers, the Inception trailer was cooler. There was cooler stuff. Tenet looks really cool, and the backwards, running the car backwards and all that looks cool, but, the folding cities, the imagery in Inception was more intriguing to me than Tenet. Intellectually, Tenet seems cool, but my jury is still out. Jury is still out. What are you doing?
I'm trying to...
Oh. So there he goes. So yes, I can't say you're asking 40% Tenet is better than Inception. I'm not going to go that high. I got to go lower than 40. 25%. Because I love Inception. So, and on that note, where are we at?
We are at Have a Better Night.
Have a better night, whiners. Thanks for enjoying this with us. Cheers to all of you.
Cheers.